Again, my name's Reno. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a member of Midwest Writers Association, and I am the outreach co-chair. So I'm reaching out to all of you today. Happy to see you. So we're going to talk about video today, and why, as writers, we even want to talk about video. Part of my thing is that I think, here I'm a video guy, but I'm also a writer. So we all wear different hats. But I think as writers today, that we're communication experts. But until now, we've been tied to the printed page because that was the only option that we had. People are willing to read when they're interested, but first they have to find out whether they're interested. And I think that's where the synthesis comes, is the position that I make is that video is a good way to get people interested in your content in a succinct, quick, and engaging manner. And then hopefully, then they're gonna start to interact with the rest of the content on your page. The other thing I like to throw in here is video is not a strategy. A lot of times people say, oh, I just need a good video and my whole life is going to get better. It's not a strategy. And I find this a lot with the book trailer business. A lot of people, authors come to me and say, oh yeah, I think I'm going to do video and that's really going to promote my business. I said, well, if people see your video, it'll promote your book. You know what I mean? It's still up to you to get people to see the video. You see what I mean? Putting it on YouTube alone is not going to do it. They think that video is a strategy. They think, oh, I did the video, somehow it's out there doing something for me. Well, you got to help it along. That was just a preamble of why we're here talking about video. It's important. Statistics are showing that it's important. You've got to be engaged. This is no longer an option. It may be an option today at this very moment, but tomorrow morning it won't be. That's how quickly it's moving. So now, as a PR professional, how can I use videos? Augment your storytelling. By that I mean put a face on it, summarize your story, testimonials, repurpose content, capture news, control your message. These are all things you're trying to do as a marketer, as a PR person, and I want to give you a few quick examples of how you can do that. So here we go. This is a staged press release. And this is something that any one of us can do, okay? But this is an idea that I was working with some musician, a guy that I know, and I'm actually doing some marketing with him. And we came up with this idea to do a staged press release. Real quick, the background story on this is that he does a radio program Monday morning in Evanston, WNUA or whatever, but he's a reggae musician. And so he's sort of afraid that some of his people who follow him are going to be confused. Like, hey, Stan, why are you doing jazz? I thought you were a reggae guy. And so what we did was a staged press release. We thought we'd have some fun with it. And we did a step and repeat pattern in the back of some of his, these are some of his sponsors. And
all right, first of all, I'd like to say,
I had somebody on the side shooting a camera off so that we'd see like flashes going on and off.
and I'd like to thank my sponsors, Elixir Strength.
So we're throwing questions out from the audience. You're not supposed to really hear that anyway. You'll notice, I added this little generic-looking, special news report, stand here.
Let's see how this works.
Okay, but he's basically answering the question of, why you're doing jazz if you're a reggae guy.
Well, let me explain
and sent it out via email to his email list and so on.
a jazz
put it on his
musician.
website, put it on his Facebook page.
And jazz music itself, just like blues, is actually a tropical music.
Okay. But like anybody can do something like this, and it's really, it's kind of a lot of fun. And even, his fans probably know it's a little tongue in cheek, you know what I mean? But it's like, it's a great sort of fun way. So that's the thing we're talking about when you're doing videos, trying to come up with something that's a little bit more engaging, and so that's why I showed you that as an example.
The question was, what am I going to accomplish?
Okay, and as an author, yay, because everybody here identifies yourselves as an author, so we'll talk about author stuff specifically. Now, here's the thing is, I have so many people come up to me and say, actually, they say, oh, I have a book trailer on my website. Oh, that's nice, and it is a reading of them at the library, or it's an interview or something. And I just, one of those situations where, I go, oh, that is not a book trailer. So I'm just here to tell you that that is not a book trailer. Any arbitrary video that you have is not a book trailer. A book trailer is very specifically a video designed to promote your book and get people engaged in a emotional way. So, and it more like a commercial, and more often than not does not include the author, and really is just really all about the book. But there are other things, other videos. There are book readings, there are author interviews, and also testimonials from your readers. So let's take a look at just a couple of things, just so we can see. This is a book reading. How many people know Betsy?
So our guest author tonight is Betsy
How many people?
Storm. She's the author of this book, Bright Lights of the Second City.
Yeah, right.
And Bright Lights of the Second City is a compilation of 50 prominent Chicagoans, all living with passion and purpose. And so Betsy's going to come up here in a second, get herself comfortable, read a few excerpts from her book, and tell us a little bit about it. Betsy?
And take a look at this, because I want you to see how
Hi,
you
my
can
name is
do a book
Betsy
reading a little bit
Storm,
more
and
engaging.
my book
This is a
titled
very
Bright
long
Lights of the
piece, but I
Second City.
edited it down to about a minute and a half.
Chicagoans all living with passion and purpose.
So a few of the profiles that I find most interesting, I'm going to read for you now. One is James Lovell, and he's somebody that that many people will know, particularly people of a certain age. He was an Apollo 13 astronaut, and he's celebrated for saving the Apollo 13 mission from seemingly certain catastrophe, as
B-roll.
many of us remember.
I shot this
as we
later,
sat in our living
over her
rooms.
shoulder. Okay?
Chicago is my adopted hometown. My grandfather settled here when he emigrated from
This is the second
Czechoslovakia.
camera. I got two cameras.
When my mother was born, the family lived in Oak Park, which had a large Czech community at the time. I was born in Parma, Ohio, but lived there only for the first year of my life. Astronauts share common characteristics, and that was especially true in the early days. They were smart people who lived on the edge, loved adventure, and wanted to explore anything new. They're individuals who know how to figure out a plan, and quickly, when something goes wrong. If the mission had gone as planned, I would have been the third man to walk on the moon, but who would remember that? Instead, I overcame near certain catastrophe and turned it into a successful recovery. That result ultimately was more significant to my career than had I actually landed on the moon. Just for the record, Captain Lovell was interviewed.
So it's a longer piece, so, you know, I would not have moved back and forth from those shots quite as rapidly as I did here, but this is condensed down to, from probably about 6 minutes down to about 2 minutes, that particular James Lovell reading. But just to show you that example of how to make your your video a little bit more interesting is to vary the shots. You vary the shot by B-roll. You notice I came around actually when I was done. I told her, I said, Betsy, just sit there. I came around behind her and just shot, you know, over her shoulder like this, you know. So, and again, book trailer. So let me show you a book trailer. This one I like recently. You know, Connie is a member of the group. I've done 3 book trailers for her. You know, she has these exciting sort of creepy novels that she does, and so they're kind of fun to do.
Khaki Equals Killer, the third novel in the Color of Evil series by Connie Corcoran Wilson, follows the adventures of young Tad McGreevy and friends through the second semester of their senior year that includes romantic encounters, abduction, and a terrifying prom night. John Land, best-selling author of the Caitlin Strong series, says Wilson's work is a subtle hybrid mix of science fiction, thriller, and horror in the tradition of Philip K. Dick and Ray Bradbury. Gary Braver, author of Flashback, says Wilson's characterizations come alive on the page. After spending 33 years teaching students in this age range, she knows what she's talking about. The Color of Evil series is old-school psychological horror, artfully blended with new-school shocks and twists. Bravo, says Jonathan Maybury, New York Times best-selling author and Bram Stoker winner. Tad sees colorful auras around people that tell him whether that person is good or evil. For Tad, red signals violence, khaki equals killer, and it's a color he wants to avoid. Find out who lives happily ever after, and who does not, in Khaki Equals Killer. Available online and at your favorite bookseller.
So that's what I like to. But you know, again, some of the things you want to think about if you're doing, especially something like that, is sound effects are so important. You know, to get background sounds of things that you're doing is really you can't believe how much more engaging it is, and so it's important. The other thing is music, and you'll hear, as you hear some of these that have music and some of them that don't. Music is really important because it sort of gives a line to the whole thing. It's sort of like that's the consistent thing that runs through the whole piece, and it kind of ties everything together. So music, when I layer the music on, that's like, the whole thing just like comes together. Before that, it seems all kind of fragmented and stuff, and then all of a sudden the music just like levels it all out. And also if you have any kind of weird sound anomalies, the music really kind of helps to even that out too. So.
Small Business Essential Web Video. Web video is possibly the most important marketing communication tool available today. Your business should have an essential video on your website that says who you are, what you do, and why people should do it with you. Potential clients do not want to work hard to understand your message. The average visitor to your website spends about 10 seconds to decide whether they're in the right place or not. Ideally, they want somebody to show and tell them very quickly if they're in the right place. Remember, you're using pictures and sound, so you can cram a lot of information into 1 minute, or even 30 seconds when it's done right. If you're a do-it-yourself type of business owner, the technology is certainly available to you. But a video production marketing professional can provide expertise that will likely give you a more polished and effective presentation. RenoWeb.net can help you produce videos that are right for you. Contact us. For more information, go to RenoWeb.net.